interact with each other and inculcate leadership qualities among them. Today, in the chain of various topics covered in WOW series, we are here to discuss the filing of income tax returns for assessment year 22-23 and recent changes in ITR forms. To grace the session, we have with us our very own, very active and dynamic leader with whose efforts all these programs are being conducted, Chairman of CIRC, CA Atul Malhotra sir, as well as we have with us as the chief guest, very active member of the institute, as well as a past chairman of CIRC, CA Nilesh Gupta sir. Next, we have our speaker, CA Sudeshna Basu ma'am from Varanasi. She's a very experienced and learned speaker. We also will have with us CA Asha Rani Naran ma'am from Agra. She's also very experienced and learned faculty. To start with, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all and all the participants to this virtual program. To start with, I request CA Atul Malhotra sir to give the welcome address to the members.
Thank you, Lakshmi ji, and my younger brother, very dedicated professional from our region, Nilesh Gupta ji, who has given consent to be with all of us today, just to share a few words and just to share the depth of the profession. And this program, WOW, is the initiative of our Nilesh Gupta ji when he was chairman during 21-22. So we are thankful, and Nilesh bhai, all the female members are very much thankful to the Nilesh Gupta ji and CIRC for this excellent initiative. So and very respected Asha Rani Narang ji from Agra. She is a very senior chartered accountant from Agra, and I requested her to chair the session for today's program. And Lakshmi ji is from Gorakhpur, Lavisha is from Kanpur. So it's our joint effort to come on to manage a platform of CIRC for our female members from different cities or even different states. And this is very much appreciated by our, especially by our female members as well as our all members from the CIRC. As we all know that today's topic is very important, but I am not going on the topic. I am just wanted to share 2-3 very important things with all of you. That we have just celebrated 74th CA Day, and we all know that our government, our country is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav on the 75th year हमारा है ये, और उसके तहत हमारी ICI और हमारा CIRC हम सभी मिलके इस महोत्सव को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं. और CIRC ने 75 days, 75 programs. We started from the 2nd June and it will continue till 15th day of August. And another very important thing for our senior members, for our young members as well, that a mega event is going to be scheduled on 18th November to 21st November at Mumbai.
Atul ji, good evening. Can you
welcome. Yes, आपकी आवाज आ रही है?
अरे ना, हम दिखाई दे रहे थे ना सुनाई दे रहे थे. मिस्टर मिस इंडिया हो गए थे, मिस्टर इंडिया की तरह.
अरे हम लोग तो परेशान हो गए थे कि हमारे दर्शक भी परेशान थे कि हमारी स्पीकर महोदया कहाँ चली गई.
Some technological error and so
there may be some technical issues. So आपका बहुत-बहुत स्वागत. सुदेशना बसु जी हमारी एक सीनियर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हैं जो वाराणसी से हैं, और सबसे अच्छी बात आपकी ये है कि आप एक बहुत अच्छी सोशल वर्कर भी हैं, और आपके जो हस्बैंड हैं वो एक बहुत ही रेनाउंड डॉक्टर हैं वाराणसी के, और हमेशा प्रोफेशन के लिए आपका कमिटमेंट और आपका हर तरह से सहयोग रहता है. तो our team, I requested Sudeshna ji to share her knowledge with regard to the ITR filing and the key issues in the ITRs, which and the major changes, because this is the time we all are in this. We are engaged in this. So I was just talking about World Congress of Accountants. So young members and few seniors are thinking or discussing through various groups that what will be the future of our profession. अब ये ऑडिट चला गया, वो ऑडिट चला गया, क्या फ्यूचर होगा हमारे भविष्य का, प्रोफेशन का। तो मेरा आप सभी लोगों से ये निवेदन है कि देखिए, ये 118 साल के बाद भारतवर्ष को, हमारे आईसीआई को होस्ट करने का मौका मिला है, और उसमें बहुत सारे देशों से हमारे अकाउंटेंट्स, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, प्रोफेशनल आएंगे। कहाँ पर क्या नेटवर्क बनता है, क्या प्रोफेशन है फ्यूचर का, और किस दिशा में हमको जाना है। तो इट मे बी ए टर्निंग पॉइंट इन आवर प्रोफेशनल कैरियर। सो आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू to please register yourself for this mega event। और हम लोग कहते हैं कि ये हमारे प्रोफेशन का ओलंपियाड है। पता नहीं कितने लोगों की लाइफ में ये दोबारा कब होगा, नहीं होगा, पता नहीं, बट ये मेरा बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग पर्सनल व्यू है that we all should join in physical mode। और बहुत ही अच्छी जगह पे हो रहा है, 18 से 21 नवंबर को है, और हमारी प्रोफेशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज भी उस समय तक काफी पूरी हो जाती हैं। सो इसके साथ साथ हमारी CIRC की टीम पूरा MSME के सपोर्ट में है। हमारे नीलेश गुप्ता जी हैं, उनके समय में हम लोगों ने एक शुरुआत करी थी। तो उसमें हम लोगों ने एक प्रोफेशनल एक आउटसोर्स किया है, जो हमारे MSME के मेंबर्स की कोई भी क्वेरी है तो आप CIRC की वेबसाइट पे उस पर एक हम लोगों ने सेपरेट मेल ID भी दिया हुआ है। आपकी कोई भी क्वेरी होगी तो वो हमारा जो जिनसे हमने टाई अप किया है वो आपकी क्वेरी का जवाब देंगे, और हम उन मेंबर तक वो उनकी रिप्लाई को पहुंचाएंगे। तो इस तरह से जो भी हमारे प्रयास हैं वो आप सब लोगों के सहयोग से ही हैं। और जब भी हमें मेंबर्स और स्टूडेंट्स के लिए कोई भी आपको लगता है कि कुछ हमें और बेहतर करना है, तो आपके सजेशंस हमारे लिए बहुत महत्व रखते हैं। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आप सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और अब मैं MOC को कहता हूं कि आगे की कार्रवाई आगे बढ़ाएं। प्लीज ओवर टू MOC।
Thank you so much, sir, for the kind invitation. Now I request our chief guest, Sri Nilesh Gupta, sir, to to please speak two words to our members.
Thank you, Lakshmi ji. Very respected, my elder brother and the leader of CIRC, respected Atul Bhai Mehrotra ji, and his entire dynamic team headed by him and his extended arms secretary Lokesh Maheshwari, vice chairman Kishore Biani, Kishore Bardia ji, treasurer Rajiv Bhai, और Anil Yadav ji Sikasa chairman, and entire team of dynamic CIRC, and today's learned speaker and very experienced faculty of CIRC, we can say not from Varanasi. She is a very renowned face amongst us. CA Sudeshna Basu ma'am, namaste. CA Asha Rani Narang ji, today's today's session chair, and of course the team. Wow, very, very good evening to all of you, and I am very happy to be part of this Wow series. This was my dream project when I was chaired this prestigious CIRC, and with the help of my team, including Atul Mehrotra ji, जिन सब ने मुझ पर विश्वास दिखाते हुए और मुझे ये कमान सौंपी थी कि हम 21-22 में CIRC को आगे कैसे लेके जाएं, तो मैंने प्रयास किया, और हम सबकी जो विश थी उसके अकॉर्डिंग हमने कुछ यूनिक प्रोग्राम चालू किए थे, एंड वाओ इज पार्ट ऑफ दैट यूनिक सीरीज, वी कैन से, अंडर दिस आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव। मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगता है कि हमारी जो फीमेल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स हैं वो मोर देन 33% हैं चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी में जो भी मेंबर हैं। और अगर स्टूडेंट की बात करूं तो डेटा तो नहीं है मेरे पास, लेकिन मेरा ऑफिस यहाँ है और ऑलमोस्ट उसमें 70% आर्टिकल्स आर फीमेल आर्टिकल। तो किस तरह का विश्वास फीमेल मेंबर्स में और फीमेल स्टूडेंट्स में चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी कोर्स के प्रति है, इसके लिए मैं हमारे जो लीडर्स हैं उनको सैल्यूट करता हूं। हमारे जो पुराने जितने भी प्रेसिडेंट्स हुए हैं जिन्होंने इस तरह की कन्वीनियंस इस कोर्स में दी, ताकि हमारी जितनी भी फीमेल हैं उन्होंने इसके ऊपर विश्वास जताया और आज वो अच्छे से अपना काम कर पा रही हैं। तो बहुत ज्यादा समय तो नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन आप सबसे मिलकर बड़ा अच्छा लगा। एंड टुडे टॉपिक इज वेरी रिलेवेंट, इंपॉर्टेंट तो है ही सही, क्योंकि सबसे पहले अगर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की बात करते हैं तो वो इनकम टैक्स का रिटर्न और ऑडिट की बात आती है। वहीं अभी के वैश्विक सिनेरियो में अगर हम बात करें तो वी आर नॉट लिमिटेड टू इनकम टैक्स एंड टैक्स रिटर्न्स और अदर कंप्लायंसेस, बट हाँ दिस इज आवर बेसिक सर्विसेज। अभी हमारे यहाँ पर एफएम पर, मैं अभी कार ड्राइव करके आ रहा था तो एफएम पर चल रहा था कि भाई वो उन्होंने जो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने डाला है एड, उस पर डाला है जिसमें बताया कि सीए साहब से बता रहे हैं साहब हमारा रिटर्न आप टाइम पे डालें। तो आईटीआर मींस चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, ये हमारे ट्रेडिशनल अप्रोच से चला जा रहा है। लेकिन हमारी रेस्पेक्टेड लर्नेड स्पीकर आज हमको बताएंगी कि अब वो आईटीआर सरल नहीं रहा, जो फॉर्म शायद 2D या कुछ हुआ करता था, जो एक पेज का फॉर्म होता था और जिसमें हमारे जैसे मैंने एक दिन में 100 रिटर्न हम हाथ से भर दिया करते थे, या जब जीनियस या और कोई सॉफ्टवेयर या सरल सॉफ्टवेयर या और भी जो सॉफ्टवेयर चलते हैं उनमें हम एक दिन में 100 से 150 रिटर्न भर दिया करते थे। अभी जमाना ऑटोमेटेड प्री फिल्ड इंफॉर्मेशन का है, प्री फिल्ड आईटीआर का है, एआईएस का है, टीआईएस का है। जो चीजें हमको नहीं पता है, जो चीजें हमारी वाइफ को नहीं पता है, हमारे स्पाउस को नहीं पता है, जो चीजें हमारी फैमिली मेंबर को नहीं पता है, जो चीजें हमारे एम्प्लॉयर को नहीं पता है, जो चीजें हमारे दोस्तों को नहीं पता है, जी हाँ वो सब कुछ इनकम टैक्स को पता है। चाहे वो फॉरेन ट्रेवल हो या फिर आपका कहीं पर इन्वेस्टमेंट हो या फिर कोई एसआईपी हो, तो सब कुछ इनकम टैक्स को पता है, क्योंकि देश और सरकार यह चाहती है कि यह इकोनॉमी डॉक्यूमेंटेड बने। और जब इकोनॉमी डॉक्यूमेंटेड होगी तभी हम विश्व में ऊपर बढ़ पाएंगे। और वहां पर बीइंग इकोनॉमिक सोल्जर हमारी सबसे बड़ी जिम्मेदारी बन के आती है कि हम सरकार की मंशा, स्टेक होल्डर की मंशा को समझते हुए उनके कदम से कदम मिला करके उनकी सारी एक्सपेक्टेशन को पूरा करें। और इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न में जिस तरह की मंशा सरकार की है उसको हम पूरी करते भी हैं। लेकिन हम घर में बात कर रहे हैं तो वैसे तो मैं यहाँ पर अगर एज की बात करें तो मैं बहुत छोटा हूँ मैडम आपसे, लेकिन मेरी तरफ से एक सबमिशन ये आता है क्योंकि मैं कई सारे यंग मेंबर्स और कई सारे प्रैक्टिशनर से इंटरेक्ट करता हूँ, उनकी काउंसलिंग करता हूँ। तो अब जमाना जो है वो अपने आप को मार्केट करने का है, हमारी सर्विसेज में वैल्यू एडिशन बताने का है। और जब तक आप वैल्यू एडिशन अपनी सर्विसेज में नहीं बताएंगे तब तक क्लाइंट आपको पैसे नहीं देने वाला है। कंप्लायंस सर्विसेज तो हमको फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट देना है कि साहब ये हमारी वैल्यू एडिशन है, ये आपका लाइफ साइकिल इन्वेस्टमेंट है, इस तरह से हम आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान कर रहे हैं। और आईटीआर तो हम आपका कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री फाइल कर देंगे, तो शायद हमको पैसा मिल जाएगा क्लाइंट से। तो कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं जिसमें हम क्लाइंट की सोर्सिंग अच्छे से कर सकते हैं। मेरे साथ हमारी फीमेल मेंबर हैं और फीमेल मेंबर भारतीय संस्कृति में कई सारी जिम्मेदारियों को ओढ़े हुए अपना प्रोफेशन को आगे बढ़ाती हैं। उसके लिए मैं आप सभी को सैल्यूट करता हूं दिल से कि आप सब ने किस तरह से हमारी संस्कृति को सहेजते हुए आप प्रोफेशन को भी आगे बढ़ाते हैं। कुछ छोटे छोटे टिप्स हैं जिसको अगर आप यूज करें तो हम जहां जिस जगह आप बैठे हुए हैं वहां से आप अपनी सर्विसेज की मार्केटिंग इस प्रेजेंट सिनेरियो में करके अपनी प्रोफेशनल ग्रोथ को एंश्योर कर सकते हैं। आप कोई भी एक ऐसा टॉपिक जिसके ऊपर अगर देयर आर नंबर ऑफ सेक्शंस, देयर आर नंबर ऑफ सेगमेंट्स इन इनकम टैक्स फॉर डिक्लेयरिंग इनकम, तो आप किसी भी पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट पर अपनी स्पेशलाइजेशन करते हुए अपने आप को प्रमोट करें। आप अगर इनकम टैक्स का रिटर्न या इंडिविजुअल रूप में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं तो एक छोटा सा पोर्टल या वेब पेज आप बना लें और उसके थ्रू आप अपने मिलने जुलने वालों के को आप टारगेट कर सकते हैं। मैं यहाँ इस प्लेटफॉर्म पे तो ये नहीं कहूंगा कि आप अपने नाम से मार्केटिंग करें, पर जो भी हमारे कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट में हमको अलाउड है उनको यूज करते हुए या फिर कोई प्लानिंग इसकी करते हुए आप अपनी सर्विसेज को मार्केट करें। आप जहां पर बैठे हैं वहीं पर, क्योंकि अब कोई भी फिजिकल डॉक्यूमेंट हमको रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है। पहली बात तो हमको डॉक्यूमेंट रिक्वायर्ड ही नहीं है, क्योंकि इनकम टैक्स ने वो झंझट ही खत्म कर दिया है, सारी इंफॉर्मेशन उनके पास है। अब तो हमको क्रॉस चेक करना है, बट हमारे कई सारे मेंबर AIS TIS को डाउनलोड ही नहीं करते, 26A के आधार पर रिटर्न फाइल कर दिया करते हैं। फिर क्लाइंट को उसके बारे में कभी नोटिस आएगा या कुछ आएगा, तो हमारा उसके ऊपर क्लाइंट से कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट हो सकता है। तो प्लीज कीप दिस फैक्ट्स इन योर माइंड कि इनकम टैक्स के पास जब सब कुछ पहुंच चुका है, तो अगर आप किसी क्लाइंट से फीस कम ले रहे हो तो आपका व्यक्तिगत मुद्दा हो सकता है, लेकिन सेवाओं तो आपको उसी स्तर की देनी पड़ेगी जो कि विश्व के दूसरे सबसे बड़े प्रोफेशन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंसी, इंडियन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट आप हैं, और उसके हिसाब से आपको सेवाएं देनी पड़ेगी, चाहे आप उस ITR के 500 रुपए क्यों ना चार्ज करते हो। मेरा तो यहाँ ओपन प्लेटफॉर्म पर यह कहना है कि आप अपना टाइम कैलकुलेट करें। आप उस क्लाइंट से जब आप इंटरेक्ट करते हैं डॉक्यूमेंट्स के लिए, डॉक्यूमेंट्स की क्लैरिटी के लिए, OTP के लिए, OTP में उस पोर्टल पर जो उसका नंबर डला हुआ है, मोबाइल नंबर, उसको ठीक करने के लिए कई बार आपको उससे इंटरेक्ट करना पड़ता है, तब जाकर के उसका OTP या उसका मोबाइल नंबर अपडेट होता है और उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन क्रॉस चेक होती है। इन सब का पैसा हमको चार्ज करना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज हम उस लेवल की सर्विसेज दे पाने में कई बार हमको हेजिटेशन होगा कि हाँ हम इतने से पैसे में इतनी बड़ी सर्विस क्यों दें। फीस आप कम लेते हैं, ये आपकी पर्सनल उसके साथ कुछ रिलेशनशिप हो सकता है, लेकिन सेवाएं तो आपको उच्च स्तर की देना रहेगी। कई सारी, आज अगर हम कैपिटल गेन की बात करें, NRI टैक्सेशन की बात करें, या और भी कोई ऐसे स्पेसिफिक सेगमेंट, आप उसके ऊपर अपने आप को प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं। देयर आर नंबर ऑफ प्रोग्राम्स which are going to hosted by CIRC and CA ICI as well। आप उन सबको देख करके उस ज्ञान को अर्जित कर सकते हैं, और अपने छोटे छोटे, जब आप आज सोशल मीडिया पर छोटे छोटे रील्स आप पोस्ट करते हैं, मीम्स आप पोस्ट करते हैं, तो मेरा सजेशन ये है कि बीइंग ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट किसी भी सेक्शन के ऊपर 30 सेकंड 60 सेकंड की रील हम क्यों ना पोस्ट करें, क्यों ना हम पब्लिक को अवेयर करें, जागरूक करें कि हाँ अगर आप इस खर्चा कर रहे हो, हाँ आप ये क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज कर रहे हो तो इसका इम्पैक्ट ये होगा। ये रील्स भी आप करें, डेफिनेटली आई एम श्योर कि आपको उसके लाइक्स भी मिलेंगे और आपके सब्सक्राइबर भी बढ़ेंगे, और यहाँ पर लाइक्स और सब्सक्राइबर अगर बढ़ने वाले हैं तो वो आपको मनी में कन्वर्ट होंगे। आपके जितने ज्यादा लाइक्स होंगे, जितने ज्यादा सब्सक्राइबर होंगे, उसमें से कुछ ना कुछ क्लाइंट आपके कन्वर्ट होंगे। तो कुछ ये टिप्स है जिनको हम यूज कर सकते हैं। इसके साथ साथ ही ITR की बात के अलावा अगर हम बात करें तो देयर आर नंबर ऑफ फील्ड जो कि आजकल नई है, जिसके ऊपर आप एक्सरसाइज करके अपने आप को किसी फील्ड स्पेसिफिक, सब्जेक्ट स्पेसिफिक एक्सपर्ट के रूप में डेवलप कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि अब सब कुछ करने का जमाना नहीं है। आप एक चीज को पकड़े और उसको पकड़ते हुए आगे चले जाए, डेफिनेटली आपको क्लाइंट तो मिलेगा ही सही, उसकी इंडिविजुअल रिसीट तो आएगी, साथ में आपको आपके प्रोफेशनल कलीग से भी काम मिल सकता है। सो दिस इज ऑल, फिर आपसे कभी वापस मुलाकात होगी। आज हमारा इनकम टैक्स का सेशन है एंड वी हैव लर्नड स्पीकर एज सेशन चेयरपर्सन आल्सो। तो विद दिस वर्ड, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय ICI।
Thank you so much, sir. I'm quite sure that the efforts taken by both of you, I'm quite sure that the efforts taken by both of you will definitely bring new heights to the profession and benefit in upbringing our female fraternity. To continue with,
Lakshmi ji,
for the information of members and participants, I'd like to inform.
लक्ष्मी जी, एक छोटा सा और इंटरेक्शन अपनी मेंबर से करना चाह रहा था कि अगर किसी भी मेंबर को फ्लेक्सी आवर वर्किंग में या फिर किसी स्पेसिफिक फील्ड में अपना करियर एस्टैब्लिश करना चाहती हैं तो शी कैन कांटेक्ट मी एट एनी टाइम। मेरे नंबर सबके पास ऑलमोस्ट होंगे ही सही, या मेरा मेल ID होगा। तो हम लोग कुछ ऐसा ग्रुप है जो स्पेशली फीमेल मेंबर्स के लिए फ्लेक्सी आवर वर्किंग या वर्क फ्रॉम होम में कुछ काम करते रहते हैं। तो इस तरह से अगर मैं किसी की हेल्प कर पाऊँ तो इट विल बी वेरी ग्रेटफुल फॉर मी एंड यू। थैंक यू।
Okay, thank you, sir. I'd like to inform our participants that if there are any queries, they can post them in the message box and we'll take up at the end of the session. To start with, we have with us CA Asha Rani Nadan ma'am. She's a very experienced and learned practicing CA from Agra. As a session chairperson, in whose guidance we'll have our today's session, I request you, ma'am, to enlighten us with your kind words.
Thank you, madam. A very good evening, everyone. I feel honored to be sharing the virtual platform with distinguished personalities, Honorable Chief Guest C.A. Nilesh Gupta ji, Honorable Speaker C.A. Sudeshna Basu ji, CIRC Chairman C.A. Atul Mehrotra ji, Vice Chairman C.A. Kishore H. Bardia ji, Secretary C.A. Lokesh Maheshwari ji, Treasurer C.A. Rajiv Gupta ji, Chairman Sikasa C.A. Anil K. Yadav ji, C.A. Lavisha Agarwal ji, and Program Moderator C.A. Lakshmi Rangta ji. Honorable members and all participants, I extend a very warm welcome to all the participants who have joined us today for the webinar on filing of income tax return for assessment year 22-23 and the recent changes in income tax return forms. Dear members, ICAI has been taking several measures to develop capabilities of ICAI women members to effectively utilize their knowledge and expertise, and has always been committed to women empowerment of members in a knowledge-oriented way. I am sure you all will be highly benefited from the words of wisdom from all the eminent personalities today. I congratulate the CIRC committee to organize this type of webinars under the theme Women on Wednesday. Thank you. Now I hand over to Speaker CA Sudeshna Basuji from Varanasi.
Thank you, Madam Asha Rani ji. I wish to first of all thank Isha. I don't know whether she's joined at the moment or not. She was the one who contacted me for this. Atul Mehrotra ji, thank you so much. I'm honored to be sharing this virtual platform. And what I feel is Nilesh ji also spoke very plausible things about furthering the cause of women. And I remember when I think I became a chartered accountant, or even Asharani madam must have become, there were very few women in this line, but the pioneers before us, I think, made it easy for us to go ahead. And this Women on Wednesday, I had not joined before. I'd heard about it, but somehow I think I missed getting the links. So this is a wonderful platform, not only for the professionals like us at large, but also furthering the cause of women in chartered accountancy, which lives up to its promise of partner in nation building. So what I would like to do is, I think we can start with the webinar straight away, and then we can do the formalities later on. So I'll go for the sharing of the screen. So our topic today is filing of ITR and changes therein for assessment year 22-23. Most of the changes in the ITRs were incorporated last year itself. This year, what has happened is they have furthered on the changes, and it has sort of become an adventure for people like us, you and me, as we move forth into the travels of all the returns that are being filed, like Nilesh ji rightly pointed out, AIS and TIS that came in last year, 2021-22. This helped us know what we also perhaps did not know about ourselves. So it was a inner awakening thanks to the income tax department. Anyway, coming to the ITR forms, these are the 7 ITR forms that we need to fill up. Now, when we go through not through the portal incometaxindia.gov.in, but we go through these softwares, we are able, these things become a little easier, but always it's not possible. There are many cases where it's not enabled. So it's wise to have an idea about these ITRs when we file them. Next slide. Now, when we go into ITR 1, what now, ITR 1, I have made a small table. We will just go overview the table and then we'll go into the expanded form later on. Looking at ITRs 1 to ITR 4, we are covering that in this short little slide that I've got. Income from salary or pension for ordinary resident person, we can go for ITR 1, 2, 3 and 4. Why 1, 2, 3 and 4 is the differences happen because ITR 1 is for people who are only having salary and pension, one house property and other sources income and agriculture income up to 5,000. The moment we have PGBP or we have agriculture income over 5,000, our ITR shifts to number 2. So that we'll see later. So this is the first slide, first point that I've mentioned. The second is if ordinary resident and not ordinary, then we go for ITR 2 and 3. ITR 1 is not applicable. An individual who is a director in a company again cannot go for ITR 1. You have to go for ITR 2 or ITR 3 depending on the incomes that are there. Now ESOPs, the employee stock option plan, if they're allotted by an eligible startup, again, even if you're an individual, we cannot go for ITR 1. Now, regarding income from house property, here I am going headwise, then I'll go form-wise. Because this is such a vast topic, I felt we cannot cover the whole thing. I'm trying to do my best. Please forgive me for any shortcomings that may be there. For income from house property, if there's income or loss from one house property, we can go for ITR 1. The moment there is more than one, we have to go for 2. Also, if there is a loss, brought forward losses, we cannot again get ITR 1. So this is also telling you whether we can have ITR 1 or not. If individual has brought forward losses, ITR 2 and 3. And income or loss from more than one house property, again 2 and 3. Next, PGBP, like we said, business or profession, that of course is ITR 3 because ITR 1 and 2 is out of the question. If there's an individual who has a salary, who has house property and income from business and profession, we will go for ITR 3. If you're under presumptive business like retail trade or 44 AD, AD or AE, then again it's ITR 4 because it becomes PGBP. Again, if it is not ordinary resident and non-resident, it differs between resident and non-resident, then we go for ITR 3. Like I said, when we use software, these things become easier. But when we go on the portal, that is incometaxindia.gov.in, then we have to go this form-wise. Another thing I'd like to mention is when I was looking at the portal when it first came, the updated site, if we click on the help, that is there, you know, the dashboard that comes on the last, that's help. There's one word written for return filing. Like Nilesh ji said, it's written filed by a chartered accountant. That made me very proud that even the income tax department realizes that it's chartered accountants who can file this. Anyway, if you're getting interest, salary, bonus, commission or share of profit received by a partner, it's ITR 3. It's for us who have partnership firms. Next is capital gains. If we've unlisted equity shares or capital gains, there's been a lot of change in capital gains, which I will enumerate later on. It's ITR 2 and 3. For other sources, now, if it is a family pension, ITR 1. For the others that come in, it's ITR 2, 3, 4. So either of the ITRs will be eligible as per the sections. Family pension for not ordinary resident, again, is only 2 and 3. It's not ITR 1. I'm sorry for the delays. This is all technology, which we are not very okay. Now, if we have other sources, dividend income, unexplained income, or deduction under section 57, these all go into ITR 2 and 3. This is basically for senior citizens, super senior citizens, when interest and dividend incomes comes, which I will again elaborate later on. This comes under ITR 2 and 3. Next is if we are claiming deductions under 80 QQB and RRB, Then from ITR 1, we immediately shift to 2 or 3 again. Agriculture income exceeding 5,000. Like I said, if it is within 5,000, it's ITR 1, otherwise 2, 3. And total income, if it exceeds 50 lakhs, then again we are going into 2 and 3 and brought forward losses. So these are the summaries. Computation of tax liability, clubbing of income for others, claiming relief of tax, that's all under 2 and 3. If you have income from foreign sources or foreign assets, including financial interest is like we have investment in UK or we have investment in USA. So any income that is coming from there, we go for 2 or 3, or even signing authority for a person who's outside India, non-resident, resident also, then also it will automatically go into 2 and 3. When we have to select, we have to be careful there. So ITR 1 basically can be filed by an individual who is ordinarily resident in India. ITR 4 can be filed by an individual ITF who is ordinarily resident and by a firm other than LLP resident in India. Status of the assessee. Now I'm dealing with ITR 4 to ITR 7. Again, like I said, it's a small little table. A firm excluding LLP opting for presumptive taxation, we go for ITR 4. Firm including LLPs will go into ITR 5s. Association of persons, body of individuals, local authority. Now here I would like to tell you a very interesting submission of mine. What happened if you have trusts, there are many trusts where we audit. If the trusts are not registered under 12AA and section 80G, we will first have to file the first return under ITR 5. It is only when they get the 12 AAA, AA and the 80G deduction that the next year again the standing of the trust will change. It will become a not-for-profit again. Then it will go into ITR 7. So this is a very interesting point that I thought valid I should make. I think many of you may have found this also. For an artificial juridical person, a company, ITR 5, companies other than companies claiming exemption under section 11 is ITR 6. Persons including companies who are furnishing under 4A, 4B, 139, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D is ITR 7. Business trust, like I said, it's ITR 5. Investment fund is 115. UB is again ITR 5. Now, the 5 sections that we need to fill under ITR 1 is, I will skip this because I think we all know about it. The personal information, GTI, total deductions, tax paid and total tax liability, that we all know. Who is eligible to file ITR 1? Now, what we had done earlier, I'm just putting this, the whole summary is now coming up. If the total income does not exceed 50 lakhs, income is only from salary, one house property, family pension, agriculture income up to 5,000 and income from other sources will all go into ITR 1. But if capital gains come in, they will not be entertained in this form. Then we need to go into the next form. Changes in ITR 1. Now, this is a change which came in again from assessment year 21-22, again reinforced here. Section 115 BAC, Form 10I needs to be filled, needs to be approved by the assessing officer, and we need to go for the new regime. Now, there's another thing that is there is you only take that regime once. For a salaried person, that limit is not there. Okay, then we'll do that in the next ones. So Form 10I needs to be filled the moment we opt for the regime, and it needs to be informed to the employer, not at the time of filing tax, but at the time of taking the deductions, right? So this is about salary and pensions. Now coming to ITR 2. ITR 2 has the following sections that are required to be filled before submitting the form. Every point here, that's salary, house property, capital gain, ATG, the entire thing needs to be filled up. Total income will come up. And who is now, let's come to who is eligible to file ITR 2 again. That's important because this is basically, we are chartered accountants here, so we know what is to be filled up. But since I had to make PowerPoint, I put those points in the slides. I will skip. ITR 2 can be filed by individuals or HUFs who are not eligible to file ITR 1. So the fact that you can have salary pension, but you have not one house property, more than one house property, you have other sources, you have this and agricultural income over 5,000. So all that you can go for ITR 2. I will also mention a little later ITR 1, the specific people who cannot file ITR 1. Changes in ITR 2 again, that's 1515 BAC. There's a misprint here, it's not Form 80I, it's 10IE. I'm sorry, but I was not able to change this in a hurry. I made it. It's Form 10IE. It's the same as ITR 1. Now coming to ITR 3. ITR 3 comes again PGBP. Here, this is where the entire information is already captured. Only the turnover is captured from GST. If we have a GST registration, of course, our businesses may or may not have. We need to write about the general information nature of business, the income falling under different heads and coming from different sources. It includes computation of a taxpayer's total income. Verification contains to authenticate the information furnished above. That is a new point that has come up. We need to verify all the information which we are sending here. Who is eligible to file ITR 3? Individual or HUF. Income from a profession or business under a proprietorship firm where the taxpayer is a proprietor, both audit and non-audit cases. Income earned from multiple house properties will come here, and also other sources which include lottery, horse racing and other activities. So these are the eligibilities for ITR 3. Also, assets in a country outside India can be in any form, can be rent, can be other sources, any assets which are outside the country, and income generated from short or long-term capital gains. So here we are coming into capital gains. ITR 3 onwards. Capital gains has also got a lot of form changes that also we'll discuss. ITR 4 has 6 sections. Again, the disclosures, the personal information, tax liability deductions. The entire thing gamut will come under this. Who is eligible to file ITR 4? Resident individual, HUF firm, who has income not exceeding 50 lakhs from business and profession under presumptive basis schemes again. Income from salary, pension, one house property, agricultural income. So an individual who has business as well as salary will go under ITR 4. Income from other sources. So here we are more or less covering up our ITRs. Again, ITR 4 also, we can go for the new regime under section 115 BAC. If the session chairman wants to put in a point, I would request her, or if they can add on to whatever I'm saying, or we can do it later also. Individual HUF opting for new regime, we have to again file Form 10E before due date of filing of return. Now we come to ITR 5. ITR 5, this becomes a little tricky because while filling up, we have to fill the entire thing in the general information. That's Part A and Part B, which includes our balance sheet, manufacturing, trading account, profit and loss. And that Part B will obviously compute the total income and calculation of tax liability. ITR 5 will be filed by firms, LLPs, AOPs, body of individuals, artificial juridical person, cooperative society and local authority. Subject to the conditions that they will not file return of income under these sections 139 4A, 4B, 4C and 4D. So this ITR 5 is used by these people mandatorily, those who will not be able to file under these. Most of us, as in practice, our forms are also ITR 5, our business return. So all of us, I think, more or less, our return ITRs is ITR 5. Individuals, HUFs and companies are crossed out from ITR 5. So specifically for partnership, association of persons and so on. There has been lot of changes in ITR 5 from last assessment year itself. So I think we will be careful there. In the details of investment in unlisted equity shares, the name, type of company, PAN, a movement in the quantity, that is the opening cost, the amount we have purchased, the amount that we have sold, that is all mentioned. So though it is all there in AIS, TIS, when we because of AIS and TIS, a little bit of burden increases because of mutual funds. We need to calculate the profit and loss on the mutual fund. For that, we need the statements. So that is about the one thing. Most of our clients will come and say, we did not purchase mutual funds, we have nothing. And then we say, nahi, aapka hai, kaise ho sakta hai, humne to kiya hi nahi hai. And then we show them, then they remember, oh, we did this then. They feel like people are still learning. And our taxpayers are also waking up to this new transparency that is coming in. This will perhaps help a lot in eradicating bribes and the secondary economy that was there for a very long time. It will take some time. Many of us are upset, I know, and we keep saying that the government doesn't listen, or the government does this, or the government has given us more work. But more or less, this is all there in the AIS, the annual information and the tax information summary. So all that we have to do is pick up from there and just check, cross check what they have given us and what we are doing. So that is a very big help also, so that none of our taxpayers escape assessment. We don't forget to take things from there, and are a separate, now we come back to this ITR 5, a separate schedule 112A for calculation of long-term capital gains on equity shares. That is why I'm saying we tell our clients that please go back to your mutual funds and take the profit and loss statement from there. That helps us to work out our calculations. Details of tax or secondary adjustments to transfer pricing, that's a very big topic, so I will not be touching section 92CE2A, but since it's there, so I'm just mentioning it. Now we come to ITR 6. ITR 6 also like 33 schedules in the tax information. Part A general, 2 parts and 33 schedules. The schedules are there everywhere. The number differs. ITR 6 has 33, ITR 7 has 23, so it's like that. General information, outline of the total income and tax computation with respect to income chargeable to income tax. ITR 6 will be filed by a company, domestic company, body corporate incorporated by or under the laws of country outside India, any institution, association or body, whether incorporate or not, and whether Indian or non-Indian, which is declared by general or special order of the board to the company. Changes in ITR 6. One important point that has come up, not just for ITR 6. Let's just go through this first. Option of filing ITR in response to notice under section 153 and C is removed, as requirement to file ITR under these sections is now omitted. We have ITR-U also, which has come up for people who have not filed the returns. I have not covered it in my slides. Who have not filed the returns for the assessment years 2021 and 21-22. I'm not speaking from the slide. ITR-U was not enabled. It's just till 18th it was not enabled. I think 19th, yesterday they said it has been enabled. I have not yet had a look at it. But ITR-U tells that if we have not filed our returns for 2021 assessment year and 21-22, 2 years, and our income is more than what the tax exemption is, we can file a return of income. Also, if we have filed a return of income and we feel it is wrong and we need to refile, It will only be allowed if we are filing an income higher than the one we have already filed in those 2 years. So I have not incorporated that, but this is just for information. You all know about it, just sharing it. In case of domestic company, the rate of income tax shall be 25% of the total income if the total turnover or gross receipts of the previous year does not exceed 400 crore rupees. It's not 1780. The year is wrong. Of the previous year, that's 2021. In assessment year 2021, the threshold limit for a person carrying on business was increased from 1 crore to 5 crore rupees in cases where the cash receipts or payments by a business don't exceed 5% of such receipts or payments. However, in 2021-22, limit of 5 crores is increased to 10 crores, which stands. It is 10 crores in 22-23 also. In Schedule P&L, the form has been enabled to capture section-wise profits under 44B, BB, 44BB, and 44BBB. So ITR 6 has got a huge amount of changes. For that, going into the portal actually helps. Cash donation changed from 2021 assessment year, last year itself, 10,000 to 2,000. Date field is also mentioned and also written. The way you have, even the trust has to mention by way of filing the return of income 10BD by 31st May 2022. Most trusts have filed. Those who have not filed have not got an extension. So all trusts need to file the donations received, and they also need to mention cash or by electronic means. And of course, for the donee, the one who has donated, you cannot pay more than 2,000 in cash to the trusts. Now, two sections that have been removed, section 80 IB, because section 80 IA and IB are now over. The exemptions are no longer available, so they are the sunset clauses, and hence the mapping changes have also been made in Schedule 6A for section 80 IB. So that's plausible, because the unrequired sections and the schedules that come up makes more worry for us. ITR 7, 2 parts and 23 schedules, general information, outline of the total income and tax computation with respect to income. This is okay. This we all know. Who is eligible to file ITR 7? If they file as a trust, company, firm, local authority, and AOP, artificial judicial person who claims exemption under section 139, 4A, 4B, 4C, and 4D. So these are the people who are eligible to file. Changes. Corpus donation will no longer be considered as an application of income. So that is an important change which came up in assessment year 2021 itself. In part C of the schedule, we need to report any item of expenditure which has been disallowed. So one addition has been made to part C, which is donation forming part of corpus fund. So the disclosures have become more wide. We have to be very careful when, especially the government has had a lot of note on the trusts. We do not, none of us have too many trusts as clients, but whenever we do, we must be very careful, because the government has its scanner on trust. Reason is, there have been lots of funding into the trusts in the past, which has not been very pro-India. So to do that and to make it careful, even FCRA is now controlled by one bank, SBI, in New Delhi. So if all trusts which are receiving donations from abroad have to open an account there, and then it can be routed through their local bank. So these are the clauses and the tight fixes which the government is doing, which I think is very good. We have to be in a disciplined fiscal era that we are entering into, and this will also cascade on our other works, and especially as chartered accountants. We all know the number of cases anybody does, it's always a chartered accountant who's made a scapegoat So we need to be extra careful in filing such returns. Exemption under section 11(1) and 112A have been deleted in the new ITR from last year itself. Now these the nitty-gritties of filing tax returns we all know. What I have also incorporated is a summary of the key changes of ITR for the assessment year 22-23. I've tried to do my best here, but I would request you all to may please note down the points and add on or delete as or where I may be right or wrong. This I picked up from the CBDT website itself. The CBDT has notified the ITR forms for the assessment year by notification number so and so. No new condition has been added to squeeze the applicability of simple ITR forms, that's ITR 1 and 4, to existing small taxpayers. The new ITR form seeks additional disclosures of the date of purchase and sale of land and building. Capital gains has been a lot of change because earlier we would only write the cost of acquisition. Now the indexed cost of acquisition will also come, and I'll come to that later. An individual has to choose the suitable option in support of his selection of a residential status. So whether you are an ordinary resident or not, that has to be made clear. Many changes in the ITR forms are consequential to the amendments made by the Finance Act 2021 and Taxation Other Laws Act 2020. In the thorough analysis of the new ITR forms, I think we can just go through these. The drawback of a virtual session is that I will be speaking more and you will be hearing more. Anyway, I'm trying to do my best because once we wind up the moderator, Lakshmi ji can also have a question answer session. First is forms to be used by a taxpayer to file the income tax return for the assessment year 22-23. We have already discussed. The next one, schedule for which requires reporting of foreign assets held and foreign income earned during the calendar year ending 31st December from accounting year to calendar year. So this is a big change from 1st January to 31st December. So what happens is by 31st March, we have ample time to disclose. The reporting requirement is mandatory only for a taxpayer who is resident in India. He has to disclose his foreign assets in Schedule FA. So we cannot have a Swiss bank, a house in Switzerland, like a Swiss bank record, and not mention it here. So this schedule becomes very important. You're resident in India, you're holding a foreign asset in schedule. We have to mention it and disclose it. It is not required to be filled up by a taxpayer who is not ordinary resident. Right? So this is next. Additional disclosures are required in the schedule of capital gains. In the schedule of capital gains, we have 2 to 3 important points that I captured. The date of purchase and sale of land building. If there is any income arising from the transfer of land or building taxable under the head capital gains, it will be mandatory to furnish the date of purchase and date of sale. The additional disclosure would enable the taxman to verify the eligibility of the assessee to claim exemption under section 54, 54 EC, 54F. Also, as per amended provision of section 50B Wide Finance Act 2021, in case of a slump sale, the FMV, fair market value of undertaking or division transferred, shall be deemed as the full value of consideration received, no matter whether we are receiving amount lower than that. CBDT, while its notification number 68, has inserted a new rule 11 UAE. So that is very important. Rule 11 UAE becomes very important for the additional disclosures in the schedule of capital gains. The new ITR forms require reporting of FMPs as per Rule 11 UAE. So year-wise details of cost of improvement, year of improvement, and cost of improvement with indexation. These three details are which is attributable to assets remained with firm. Separate disclosures of cost of acquisition, index cost of acquisition. So like I said earlier, we would only disclose the cost of acquisition. Now in new ITR forms, we have to mention both cost of acquisition and index cost of acquisition. Next, a very important point that has come up is dividend income taxable as per section 222E to be reported separately. Earlier, dividend, we never had this. Earlier, as per section 2, dividend includes any payment by way of loan or advance by a closely held company to a shareholder who is the beneficial owner of 10% or more equity capital of the company or to a concern in which the shareholder has a substantial interest. Until last year, there were no separate disclosure of dividend income taxable under 222E, but as per new ITR forms, separate disclosure is required for such type of dividend. So this is also something that we have to be very careful about. Companies, corporates, directors, beneficial shareholders. Next, disclosures in respect of significant economic presence. I unfortunately have not had time to go through this point, so I will not elaborate on this. The next one, but I'm just telling you because this has some sense, some meaning which we have to really look up at. Next is reporting of interest accrued on PF to which no exemption is available. In the employer's provident fund, now there is a new point where some part of the interest is not allowed. The entire interest is not exempt. No exemption shall be allowed in respect of interest income accrued during the previous year in the recognized and statutory provident fund to the extent it relates to contribution made by employee exceeding 2,50,000 in any previous year on or after 1/4/2021. So for this year, we have to be very careful. If there has been any payment over 2,50,000, that part of interest will be disallowed. It is not disallowed, basically it becomes taxable. The interest accruing over 250 shall be taxed on the income from other sources. However, if such person has contributed to the fund in which there is no contribution by the employer, if there is no employer contribution, only the employer has contributed, then 2,50,000 goes up to 5 lakhs. This the way of computation of such interest has been prescribed in Rule 9D. This respect EPFO office, the Employees Provident Fund Office, has issued one guideline dated 5/4/2022 regarding manner of calculation, deduction of taxable interest, and relating to contribution of PF. Now the next one. Adjustment of unabsorbed depreciation from WDV of the block of assets as on 1/4/2020. So this part will have to be mentioned, and this is there from last year itself. So this is another point where we will have to really work out any unabsorbed depreciation. A new schedule has been inserted for reporting of tax deferred on ESOP. This is all for the startups, for the employee stock option plan. An employee can defer the payment or deduction of tax in respect of shares allotted under ESOP by an eligible startup as referred under section 80IAC. The tax paid is paid or deducted in respect of such ESOPs within 14 days from the earliest of the expiry of 48 months from the end of assessment year relevant to the financial year in which the ESOPs are allotted. I hope I am making myself clear. Lavisha, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So, and Lakshmi ji,
yes, ma'am.
I hope things are not getting a little out of hand. I hope I'm within my
Yes, ma'am.
era of. I can't hear you. I hope it's okay.
Yes, ma'am. Surely. Yes,
Yeah, so
ma'am.
I'll need another 15-20 minutes, I think, before I
No
wind up, because these were very heavy things, but I learned a lot because of this seminar, you know. These points were really, the returning of the filing of the returns was okay. But when we go into the nitty-gritties, there's a huge amount, and this comes from practice itself. So a lot of things
Yes.
are. The next is limiting the rate of surcharge on dividend income. This was a very welcome move that I felt. Uh, the background, let me of this limiting the rate of surcharge on dividend income. The Finance Act 2020 for assessment year 2021 abolished DDT, dividend distribution tax. Consequently, shareholders or unit holders are liable to pay tax on dividend income. So from no tax, it came into the hands of the shareholders. As the dividend income is now taxable in hands of investors, the Finance Act 2020 removed the enhanced surcharge on dividend income. Thus, in case of individual HUF, AOP, BOI, etc., the surcharge on dividend income shall be levied at the rate of 10% only if it exceeds 50 lakhs, but not more than 1 crore, at the rate of 15% when it exceeds 1 crore. So that is the amount, 50 lakhs to 1 crore, it will be only 10%, and beyond that it will be 15%. Below 15 lakhs, we have the surcharge has been removed. The consequential changes have been made in the schedule. It's been uploaded also. So in schedule part B, computation of tax liability on total income, in that part on the form, this has been removed. Next is relief under section 89A from taxation in income from retirement benefit account maintained in notified countries. The countries are notified. So if we have, we are getting income from there, especially the senior citizens, that will be relieved under section 89A. Exclusion of dividend income from schedule BP, that we've already discussed. Disclosure of interest income taxable at a concessional rate of 4% under section 194 LC. That is again an important point. And a new schedule IF inserted to seek the disclosure of investment made in unincorporated entities. So now wherever we make an investment has to be disclosed. So what AIS, TIS will not take, that we will also have to give them. Okay, so these are few points that disclosure of income of foreign investments and specific fund chargeable under section 11580. When we are investing outside the country, why they have asked for these are, we are not putting our PAN there. If we are investing in UK, our PAN is not mentioned. So AIS and TIS will not capture. So in that case, it becomes our responsibility to disclose, because the interest will come into our Indian bank accounts. So that will become a question mark, right? So this is what the history is, that everything that we are investing anywhere needs to be accounted for. Separate disclosure of income from units located in IFSC. Separate disclosure of units located in scheduled MAT. Schedule 80 GGA has been inserted for partners deriving only profit from firms. So this is a different schedule, 80 GGA. Consequential changes in Schedule 80I and IB due to sunset clause, that we already saw. Total secondary adjustments to be disclosed. Disclosure of interest paid to deposit taking NBFCs or systematically important non-deposit taking NBFCs. So if we have taken loan from NBFCs, we have to disclose the interest paid. Certain expenditures are allowed as deduction only on actual payment, even if the assessee follows mercantile system of accounting. However, these expenditures are allowed as deduction in the year of accrual if the payment is made thereof in the previous year itself or in the subsequent year. This basically accounting standard also comes up, where we say events happening after the balance sheet date. So if we have an accrual on 31st March and we are filing a return on 31st July and we have paid our interest in anywhere between April, May, June, July, then we will be allowed that expenditure. So disclosure of interest paid to deposit taking NBFCs comes into being. Additional disclosure required of income exempt under certain clauses of section 10. Separate disclosure is required of interest and dividend incomes taxable under section 115 AC. 153A and C have been removed. Nature of employment from pensioners is further categorized. That is coming into the screen itself when we fill up. Disclosure for alternative tax regime opted under section 115 BAC, that's form 10 IE. Disclosure for alternative tax regime, again 10 IE. Disclosure for these 3 points are all 10 IE for companies, for individuals and for firms, depending on like salaries can do it every year. For the others in business and profession, what they've done is they've allowed taking of new regime once and withdrawal once only. Next, whether they can come or not is a point of query and option. They are saying it is not there as per statute, but once it comes into actual practice, that is just come in. So 1 year you're taking, 1 year will withdrawal, and third year what will happen when we come to it, I think the government will take a call on that. Still don't agree that they will only allow this once in a lifetime, that once you take it, though the law says so, that once you take it and once you're allowed. So once you withdraw. But we are keeping our hopes open that it will not be so. Or perhaps the government slowly will move into the new tax regime. They will not allow the deductions. So I don't know what the government has in mind, but will come. Additional information sought from assessee not opting for presumptive tax scheme. So if you are not going for 44AD, ADA, 44AE, then we have to give extra information. Mandatory to choose in support of residential status in India. We have to choose the option whether we are resident in India or not. So these were few points that I wanted to club up here. Now there's one more important, like I said about ITRU, there's one more important section that has come up for senior citizens and super senior citizens, which says that 194P, which says that if you're 75 years of age, resident, has only pension income and interest income, earned from the same specified bank in which is receiving his pension, you're exempt from filing return of income. And one more thing that I would like to clarify, when I spoke in the beginning of ITR 1 cannot be used by a person, I'll come to that also. So 194P, I have not mentioned it here, is a very important section because there are many senior citizens who need help, who may not be able to file their return of income. So this is a relief that the government has given to them. And of course, if deposit for people who are going for ITR 1, we mentioned a list of people who cannot file ITR 1. There's one which I wanted to say separately so that it registers. A person in whose case tax has been deducted under section 194N. 194N means cash withdrawal over 1 crore in 1 year. So that person, even if he's a salaried, has one house property, other sources, agriculture income up to 5,000, will not be filing ITR 1. He will automatically go into ITR 2. So that's why I wanted to say this separately. And I think I have more or less tried and covered a lot of things. There's a lot still left. So like I said, there's only two things which are certain in life. One is death and one are taxes. And that's my small little presentation. I hope I've been able to do justice to your topic. Over to you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a great deliberation. You very well explained the different points and different ITR forms. And I'm quite sure that all these points will help us in filing our returns. I request as session chairperson, CA Asharani Narang ma'am, for the closing remark.
Thank you all for giving us this wonderful opportunity. We all feel enlightened on this subject. I had a great time addressing to such professionals. I really feel privileged. Thank you.
Ma'am, should I
Thank you
close?
so much, ma'am. Hello. Next, we have with us CA Lavisha Agrawal ji from Kanpur. She's a very young and dynamic member. I request her to present the vote of thanks.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the chairperson, CA Atul Mehrotra ji, for giving me the opportunity for proposing vote of thanks. As we are all engaged nowadays in filing of ITR, where audit is not required, it was really a wonderful session and helpful in updating our knowledge in regard to filing of ITR for the assessment year 2022-23. The extensive use of technology and new income tax portal with rapid changes in income tax rules in regard to filing of ITR, it was much needed to upgrade our knowledge. I would like to thank our esteemed chief guest, CA Nilesh Gupta ji, and our session chairperson, CA Asha Rani Narang ji. Sincere thanks to our speaker, CA Sudeshna Basu ji. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here for making the time to be with us today and help us make this session a success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Atul Malhotra, sir, if he's there, to speak a few words.
Ma'am, I think Atul sir is not here.
Hello.
Ma'am, I think Atul sir is not here.
Lakshmi, I have a request in the chat. People are wanting the PPT, so I'll mail you the matter about it so that you can circulate.
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't have any queries. So, if you all permit, we can close the session after this.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I hope to be in the mailing list for the next WOW, whenever
Yes.
you have it, right? So that they can also attend. It's been a wonderful experience here. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, everybody from Varanasi and entire CRC who have joined here and have been a great help. My technology has been a little weak always. So we are in that, that senior citizen category, like Asha Rani ma'am will agree with me. So that is about the only thing that bothers, nothing else.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
So, thanks to our speaker and session chairman for the wonderful session. A big thank you to all the participants for taking out their precious time in this peak filing session. And utmost thanks to CA Atul Malhotra sir for giving this opportunity to interact with the members. This is CA Lakshmi Domta signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you.